Welcome back to Fandom Nation, your one-stop shop for all things fandom, Star Wars, Halloween, horror, wrestling, and all that much more. It's finally here. Star Wars Andor Season 2 drops in about 50 minutes' time, and in about an hour's time, we will be watching the first episode to the second season together. Joining me, as always, first up, he's the man behind Bros Before Pros over on Twitch. I imagine he's got some stuff coming up that he's going to be doing over there in the not too distant future. It's Johnny V. Dude, I can't believe we've made it here. We're getting ready to watch Andor together tonight, and you're not going to be sick to your stomach about it. I feel like we got halfway to where we wanted to get.
I mean, yeah, I'm more excited than I was for season 1, since that was a 0. I mean, even 1% would be an improvement. But no, I mean, I don't care. It's great that it's happening because the story was actually good for everyone but Cassian in the first season. But season 2 is they built a decent enough platform that I want to see what comes next. So yeah, I mean, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm happy, glad we're going to be watching it, but more excited than I was for season 1, and that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. Also joining us, our normal co-host, as always, Randy. I know we've been looking forward to this, dude. I had one worry. I can't believe I'm saying that about a Star Wars show. I had one worry coming into this season. I sent you the clip earlier. And I was like, because they were very hush about it. They didn't tell anyone. I think one of the things that hit with most Star Wars fans in season 1 was the score. The score for Andor season 1, like, you talk about pulling at the heartstrings and knowing how to hit emotional beats. They were spot on. And then we found out like 2 weeks ago that guy wasn't coming back, which was scary. And then I sent Randy a clip, and honestly, it feels like something you'd hear in like The Dark Knight. And I listened to it, I liked it, and I thought it was badass. Randy, how about you, man? You still just as confident heading into tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Just because, I mean, it's just like I said a couple weeks ago. It's like when they did the whole thing with Shadows of the Empire. It's like, oh, it's not John Williams doing the music, and they're bringing someone else in, and the dude nailed the feel of Star Wars with his score. And this is the same thing. This guy came in, gave us something that's spot on in the sense of you're like, yeah, this is what Andor should feel like. And that's always important with any type of music. So, I mean, sounds like they nailed it, but obviously we have an entire season to go, and hopefully, from what you did share with me, it's on par. Everything is on par with what you shared. So, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. We've been talking about him for a few weeks. He has graced us with his presence tonight. Not to mention, his picture is the clearest I've done podcasting with him or YouTubing with him for half a decade now, and you are clearer than I have ever seen you look. I don't know if it's a new camera or phone, but you look spectacular. Welcome back, Kieran.
Thanks for the compliment, I guess. This is a new iPad that I have. I got it for filming my daughter's hockey games, so I got like probably like one of the better ones that's out at the time. So yeah, it's a little bit better than my webcam that I bought for like $60 that I normally podcast on. But this might be what I podcast on from now on because it's easy to bring into my living room while I watch Andor, which I am very excited to get into because it's honestly it's the best production. It's the best. It's the most in line with the HBO shows and all the highbrow shows, the Breaking Bads and the Game of Thrones and it's the closest to that production, story, acting. Like they get fantastic actors, which happens in Star Wars sometimes, but it's usually mixed. It's usually good actors mixed in with really shit actors in Star Wars. So I won't mention any, but I mean just in general, not just that one guy who I talk about on occasion. But like just in any Star Wars show, there's usually some really good performances, and there's ones that I think could be replaced by my mailman. So, um, and not so in Andor. So very excited to get into it.
So, just so everyone has a little bit of notice and a bit of a head start for tomorrow night, I don't know if Kieran will be here tomorrow night. The door's open for him to be here, but we're going to be ranking our Andor episodes out of Stormtroopers. I kept it a little simple this time. Sponsored by Darth M. Count the Movie, starring Johnny B, of course, and Jar Jar Binks.
You say that you keep it simple, and then you put something like this on the screen.
There's a kid in me somewhere. Yeah, so we'll be just rating them out of 10 each episode. So looking forward to it. The reviews have been just, I mean, to be blunt, I know you shouldn't put everything into a Rotten Tomatoes review. No Star Wars project has the score that Andor Season 2 does, period, ever. That includes The Empire Strikes Back. So we'll see how it does. I like when non-Star Wars fans watch something Star Wars and go, hey, this is actually good. Like, I can be as big of a Hayden Christensen fan as I want, but when most movie critics watch something with Hayden Christensen, to Kieran's point here, at best, he's going to get a mediocre performance. That's not Andor, as Kieran mentioned off the top. Andor is like the guy who has 3 lines in 10 episodes is a stud actor on some other show, right? Like, so, yeah, they spared no cost. Let's dive into this, though. Wrestlemania. Here's the challenge. We have 20 minutes for Wrestlemania, and we have about 25 minutes for Star Wars Celebration. I feel like the best way to go about this, and we'll do the night after Mania too, is just to go around the table and we all pick one thing we want to talk about. Kieran hasn't been here for a while, so let's let him have at it. WrestleMania. What's the one thing you want to bring up, man, that's on your mind?
Well, so the biggest thing about WrestleMania weekend was it was very up and down, and well, it started with down, it went up, it started with in your opinions or in all the opinions that I've seen around, whether this match was good or this match was bad, most people are saying it was up and down, and like I didn't like this, I did like that, so it wasn't a perfect show, and I didn't expect a perfect show, but the thing that I want to talk about the most is the last match that went on night 2 because it was an absolute disaster in my eyes. And I know that the guy right beside me on the screen has told me that it was good to great and just didn't have a good ending. So I'd like to hear his rebuttal here. But um, the match, it's like I don't know why they went with this because the Cena tour is fine, but we saw Cena wrestle a couple WrestleManias ago, and it was awful. And then 2 years later, we decided he could be in the main event of night 2, the real main event. Night 1 main event doesn't count. Everyone knows that. And it's just, it seems like a bonehead move. The biggest thing is, did someone just mention it here? Yeah, the Travis Scott run-in, like, they gave him music and he just strolled down. So Cody was dead for like 5 minutes. Like like Cody, Cody must have been sitting there going like, how long do I have to lay down here? Like, how bad is this killing my character that I have to be on the ground for this long while someone strolls in with his weird makeshift hardcore title thing? Like, I'm sure that's already a thing that some people knew about, but like, it was like, it was so bad. It's a worse run than Papa Shango. Like,
his title reminds me of titles Johnny and I used to make with friends of ours when we were in elementary school out of construction paper. That's what his title reminds
me. Yeah, see, like, it looks like it was made by Sean. Like, that's exactly how I felt
Not
about
the
it.
original hardcore title. Let's not mix views. That's the hardcore championship done as it was then. It's a modern WWE title that's smashed up to make it look like the hardcore title. It's exactly what it's
See,
supposed to be.
this is my
It's
problem. This
supposed to be
guy's
the old
probably
hardcore
going to,
title.
like, this guy, oh, I used to, hey, this changed. Now when I point, it goes the right
Don't
way.
get me started on the change, man. I'm pretty sure I've driven them nuts weekly on the changes between the software. Oh my god.
Well, you haven't muted yourself while you're talking yet, so you're doing pretty good.
It's still young.
So that would be my thing is that, Cena won. It seems to me dead on reception. Like I don't think many people are happy about this. I haven't even seen Cena fans happy about this. Um, I'm not at all interested in this title reign. Like this kills off the show for me as a person who watches or doesn't watch based on like how interesting it is. Like I'm kind of a casual fan now, even though I have watched for so long. Like if the story's not good, I don't watch. And this is a don't watch scenario. Like this is a I don't want to see it. The match I thought was really bad altogether. It started off pretty decent, like, and the story that they were trying to tell, I think they mapped it out good enough and stuff like that. But like, yeah, that entrance really killed it. And even if I have to give up some of my time to talk about it, I would love to hear that guy who was apparently defending it. And I want to hear this expanded from him just telling me that it was good.
Because the match was good.
Johnny, we're on.
Ah!
We're tight on time, so
Nonsense.
take
Okay.
like
No,
2 minutes.
the
2
match
minutes
was
retort to
good.
him, and then
The
bring up
thing
your own
is,
topic.
the thing is, you're putting so much on the pace of the finish when, yes, it ruined the pace. I've never said the pacing was good. It was not paced well. As soon as Travis Scott made that entrance, he took way too long. It was like you said, it was 5 minutes long for him to stroll to the ring to not even be involved in the finish. It was a waste of time and didn't need to be part of the match. I agree wholeheartedly. That had no business being part of that match like that. But to denigrate the entirety of the match because of that pacing issue isn't fair to them. Because otherwise, it was a good match. Like the match itself was what it was supposed to be. It was John Cena embracing the heel. It was him embracing the I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to have a bad match. And it hit. It did exactly what it promised. It was supposed to be that. It was what it was supposed to be.
Wait, what?
I
I'm
said this to
John
Shane.
Cena's supposed to have a bad match?
In this particular angle, yes. His entirety is I'm going to ruin wrestling. That's his angle
Oh
right
my
now.
god! Oh my god!
I'm not saying it's good writing.
I'm trying.
I'm saying
You're saying that he's supposed to have a bad match to ruin the end
I'm
of the
saying it wasn't a
show
bad
so
match.
that everyone can go home. Like I get everybody goes home unhappy. That's what the heel winning is supposed to do. But
If you
everyone
take
goes home
Travis
saying
Scott,
that was a shit movie. Like
everyone was going to hold on. Everybody was going to say that anyway. And I said that was it Dave LaGreca busted open when he went off on that match
yeah,
yesterday. You're in the Discord. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was
I
pointed
saw it.
out. And I said, I'm going to pull up the exact thing that I said because of what he said. Somebody else said that he was right because well, they killed Cody Rhodes because The Rock didn't show. I'm like, no, he's a loudmouth. The Rock could have showed up with an army of Samoans and the entire cast of the Fast and Furious, and it still wouldn't have been enough for you to not think they killed Cody. Boo fucking who? That's exactly what I said. Because if you are pacing your entire enjoyment on whether or not The Rock shows up, you bought in and you bought into the wrong thing.
Well, so I didn't care about The Rock. I mean, I do understand people's like whenever someone says like The Rock was introduced, so the story, so he needs to be involved. Like when someone says this is how a story goes, part A, B, C, happy ending, whatever. Like when someone says, "Oh, the story writes itself, we should do that," I'm not interested in that because like I don't need the same story told to me over and over again. I don't want it to always be there. But I mean, the killing of Cody is that he had such a poor performance, like that he was like knocked out for 5 minutes while that
Yeah,
happened.
but
Like I was,
that's not him. That's like you have to do that for the spot. Like, does the spot belong there? No, it doesn't. But if you take that spot out, that's otherwise a good match. Ruined by a
if
shitty
Travis Scott jumps the guardrail, then that's okay.
I'm not saying
But they
the
opened
writing
the
was good.
doors
I'm
for
not
him.
saying that they
He
should have
slowly went
done
out
it the way
for
they did.
like a minute. He was like, "Look at this title! I got my own title." It was like, it was unbelievable how slow he strolled down there and how
I'm
like
not
it
saying it
was.
was good.
Oh
The
my god!
finish
It's
was
like
awful.
watching WrestleMania and then a 5-minute commercial in the middle of a match. You're like, "This is WrestleMania. This doesn't happen." Like,
I said it, which would bring me to my point. It's the perfect microcosm of the Triple H era. Started with a good match with a shitty finish, ended with a good match with a shitty finish.
So
It's the microcosm of the Triple H era.
okay. You went way over time. Let me chime in here for a second before you bring up your topic. Please don't make it the same topic. Make it something new. I already basically put my thoughts up. I thought the match was fucking awful. And you know what's funny is I showed up here tonight, and I think Randy probably remembers this. Ready to give Johnny his flowers because Johnny fucking nailed some shit in regards to this pay-per-view, and I'm not talking like last week. I'm talking like 2.5 months ago. Nailed it. Spot on. But dude, that was a fucking awful match. I'm glad that you think it was okay. But I've sat on this show with you before and watched you criticize Phil Brooks for putting on 1,000 times better fucking matches than what that shit was. Now, if he is doing the whole, I
I'm
think
not saying it was the best match of the night or even the best match of the week. It was not. It was okay to good.
I think the
Maybe
problem I
it
have is
was sixth at best. At best, it was the sixth best match.
you guys like sports analogy. It works for any of the big four sports. A guy is nearing the end of his career. Season ends. You still think, well, if he comes back next season like this season, it's still serviceable. Next season begins, and all of a sudden, you're not hitting 270, you're hitting 180, and your 180 isn't good enough to keep your 20 home runs in the lineup. It happens to everybody. And for me, since Cena's been back, all I have seen is other people have to carry him. And it was that way with Punk for a bit too. And Punk went to AEW, 100%. Here's the difference. Punk clearly made a commitment to train and get into way better shape and to be able to do that at that age. John Cena doesn't have time for that. Even, 26 dates or 27 dates? He's still doing the filming shit during this. So, like, I like the whole ticking time bomb, except for now I feel like no matter what, we're getting to that last date or that last match, and that's when he'll drop the belt to whoever. But I thought it was a bad match in general. And did anybody catch The Rock today? Hear any of that stuff?
Oh, don't even. We're not. If we start that, we're not making our timeline.
No, I know, but we definitely need to make time to cover that next week because
we
for
will.
me that hurts the match. That hurts really Mania entirely the way they fucking went about that shit.
I gave up listening to The Rock when he tried to take credit for the crowd in Toronto. The ticket sales. They called me to be an elimination chamber because the ticket sales. Fuck off.
Does he know that we can see wrestle ticks like
the house was 75% sold when they added you to the card, and conveniently happened to drop the ticket prices 25% at the same time. Yeah, I'll bet the house went up after you got announced, but it had nothing to do with the 25% ticket sale drop.
Yeah,
no, those two things aren't related.
We need to make some time next week to cover that.
Or that Toronto sells out every time. Like you could bring
it did
like a TNA show could do good numbers in like any of these shows do good numbers in Toronto. Like
it was probably the worst thing they could have done is have The Rock go on Pat McAfee's show today.
It was not good.
Did them no good. I get on AEW for bad PR. Guess what? This was a much worse than
this was worse.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm with you. Bad. Randy, quick thoughts on that main event.
Honestly, I wasn't a fan of the match. It was just slow and clunky, and it really didn't resonate well. And then, of course, the finish. I'm going to agree with one of Dustin's comments he made earlier that Scott's belt was probably from Wish. But other than that, it's a slap in the face to the fans when you really think about it. Obviously that's going to be Cena's shtick is we're going to slap the fans in the face the entire time I'm here. That's fine. But you're at WrestleMania, you're night 2, you're supposed to be the big match. We needed more. The match needed to go longer. It needed to have better pacing, and it needed to tell a bigger story other than Cena just showing up acting like he didn't care and just ended up winning by, cheating essentially. So it is what it is at this point. Is it going to ingratiate Cena to anybody? No. Obviously, fans are pissed, and they're letting it know, and they're letting people know about it, but that's the point. That really is the point when you think about it. You got to make people hate Cena for the rest of the year, and they did a pretty good job of it.
Clearly not, because the crowd was at least 50-50 last night.
I don't know how much we can go off of Raw after Mania crowd. A lot of traveling.
It still sets the pace a little bit, because people are going to hear that and think, oh, we're supposed to cheer him now. Like it does have that effect.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit on the Cena stuff and say, outside of the match, which I thought was horrendous, the whole dates ticking down thing, I think is a clever, very Avengers end of the timeline storytelling piece, and I think that's smart. And I think the presentation, if he's heel, of just the Titantron or whatever they're calling it these days, just being black with his name walking out, kind of similar to like a some of the marketing we've seen for like Rocky Balboa in the past. I know Rocky's not a heel, but like I like the look of it.
It's the
I
opposite
appreciate
of everything he's been about, with the lights and the colors and the big entrances and all that. And it just
for sure
it fits so much better.
Johnny, what do you want to bring up, man?
Well, I mean, I think it's. I don't really have a specific one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to just comment on just overall, like you said, how predictable it was. There were
months ago.
I did, and I hate that I did, because I like the surprise. Like, that's what makes the one moment that you want to know. The one thing that makes me most happy about this WrestleMania, they managed to surprise me. They managed to pull one over on me, and they managed to make me go, "Oh shit!"
I know, it was shocking to see Roman still in town after Mania. I didn't think it was
obviously not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about Joe Hendry being
that was a big surprise.
You did have
that one I did not expect. That one I did not see that coming at all. I thought that was a snowball's chance. I knew Joe was in town, obviously, and the leaks hadn't yet come out yet of people spotting his shirt at World, which, had I been on Twitter, probably would have seen that hours ago and knew it was coming, because they fucked up and put his shirt out that afternoon at World. And yet the internet didn't pick up on it as much as I would have expected. But they pulled that one over. I didn't see it coming. They managed to surprise me, and in a good way, by having Joe Hendry accept the challenge.
I would have liked to see them give that match 5 minutes more and have it feel less like a squash. I know it wasn't totally a squash, but like, I think Henry's done enough over the last year just in terms of his visibility. Cool that he got the match at all, right? Because like he couldn't have, at one point in time.
But I think it was really classy. Really classy to give that guy that moment, because he might be on WWE TV here and there or whatever, but like, he's a guy, like, this is what they used to not do. Like, a guy organically got himself over and whatever, and they used to be like, fuck that guy, we didn't make that guy. And like, a complete 180. They're like, man, you know what, we'll give it to this guy. And that turnaround look into an RKO is a moment that will probably stand the test of time for anyone who's like, oh, remember, like, Joe Hendry? Like, you remember that guy? Everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, remember when he did that thing and Randy RKO'd him? Like, they did a good job of putting a really good moment in there for him. It's not like, fucking Undertaker fighting Maven, where you're like, well, I don't know, whatever. He drop kicked him out of the Royal Rumble.
It took the one thing I'd been able to say up to this point about the WWE TNA agreement collaboration that people have been talking about, like, oh, it's so much better than the AEW one, because they're actually, well, no, up until Sunday night, it really wasn't, because to that point, AEW had still been responsible for the biggest buy rate and ratings that TNA had done in over 10 years. When the Kenny Omega winning the title and main eventing the pay-per-view popped their buy rate. To that point, nothing they've done had done that. Like, even the ratings for the TV episodes haven't been as good as they were for that angle. But there is no argument that can be made now that they are not at least as beneficial by giving their world champion that moment on the biggest wrestling stage in the world. Yeah. And that's huge. Like, the match might have been short. Yeah, it was 5 minutes. You kind of needed that because Randy's still a main event WWE guy, and Joe Hendry's he's only the TNA champion. He's still a tier below. So it's going to be a 5 minutes, going to be a squash. But you still built him up in that post-match by Randy giving him his flowers. And giving him that moment, raising his hand. And they did all of that right. And then Randy still got his, I'm Randy Orton, and it hits the RKO after the match. Like, It hit everything it needed to hit. It gave everyone the moment. It gave them the happy. It gave them the smile, and it built up a partner that, to that point, is something they'd never done anything even remotely close to that with a partner. So, kudos to them business wise. Kudos to them writing wise, pulling it over on me, and just kudos to them on all fronts because that was probably the best moment the both nights.
Yeah, they kudos to him and just in general. He got his moment at Rumble, got to Mania moment. Like it's a massive year for him, right? So, Randy, what's your thing that you want to bring up, man? Unless you have a thought on the Joe Henry thing first.
No, I mean I think it's awesome for him. The fact that he got this moment, it's better than what they originally had planned for Glasgow. So apparently, the idea was for him to show up and face the Miz and the Miz to go over, which didn't make any sense. So
That was
I'm
before
glad.
Glasgow.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. It's like at least they,
Yeah, that was the original plan. Yeah,
at least they didn't go with that, and they got smart and gave it an even bigger moment, which is going to help his career in general. As far as I wouldn't say it's any particular thing to nitpick on. I think it's for me, it's just Mania as a whole. Like you guys have said, ups and downs. Just there's some really good moments. There's some decent matches. But for me, this Mania was just kind of a meh. It wasn't really as exciting. And but I also have to think about the fact that I was at 40 last year, so I got to be a part of what I always felt WrestleMania should be, and to be home this year watching it and not getting that same feeling. Obviously, for me, there's a disconnect in that respect. Obviously, I'm also kind of spoiled on AEW pay-per-views where they're always fast and hard hitting and very super athletic versus, a lot of the slow plotting methodical type matches that we do get in WWE. So, I have a bias there, and that's probably part of the reason why I felt Mania was like that. But ultimately, it wasn't a horrible Mania by any shape of the imagination. It's just I wish some of the matches that really had potential could have taken to that next level. Obviously, night one's main event was probably one of the best matches for Mania. I did really like Damian and Drew. That match was absolutely phenomenal. And I loved how quickly everybody liked Drew's post on X the middle of the match. He's taking a picture, and that's absolutely awesome. That was an awesome moment too. But yeah, it's just I'm kind of hoping. I know they were trying to not make up, but try to get things set up to start the journey to 42. But I kind of feel like there was just a lot of misses on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, any very brief thoughts, guys, and then I'll give mine. We'll get out of here.
Yeah, WrestleMania. There's a lot of moments that are kind of tied in. Like WrestleMania moments is a really big thing. Sometimes the matches like don't even have to be that great, but if you get like a really good moment in there, then that is kind of a WrestleMania style there. And I think Dominic Mysterio winning was a big moment. I loved it. The crowd, the crowd cheering the guy, they used to not even let say one word was pretty cool. And I like that match a lot. And I didn't see all of the women's opener, but I did see the last 10 minutes. That was like, I was like, oh, I don't know what they did before this, but this is awesome. There was lots of great things, but it was up and down. And I kind of agree with Randy in where the AEW style is way more my jam. But I understand like having that style where you're trying to tell a story and trying to tell the like slow beat down of each wrestler and having to grit your way through it is more the New York style. Um, but yeah, there were some great moments in there. So it wasn't a bad WrestleMania. It's just I feel like we might even remember this WrestleMania better than it actually was watching it. Like sometimes you can collect like the moment of Paul Heyman turning is going to be really big because they're obviously leaning into that. The Dominic Mysterio winning was awesome. The night one finale was really good. One of my buddies who's super casual was like, "Wait, there's no belt on the line for this," and I was like, "Nope." And he's like, but that was the best match of the whole weekend. And I was like, it was between a lot of guys who should have a belt or can have a belt, but like no. And he's like, I feel like they should have had a belt in that match. And I was like, that was the best match. It was by far the best match, I thought. So big moments in that one, a couple of great moments in night two, and it was a decent WrestleMania. It was better than 40 for me, but not as good as 39 for me. So whatever, you know.
Yeah, I thought night one, honestly, most of the card was ass. I think many of the matches were very good. I didn't mind the Fatu LA night one. I like Jacob Fatu. Main events, representing CM Punk, obviously. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but like, I know they're trying to get him on like a new 5-year deal, and he's got all of this year, next year left on his current deal. But like, with the run he's had since finally coming back from injury the last 8 or 9 months, I think if we can get through the next year, and if it's anywhere near as effective as this past year in terms of like storytelling, end on a high note, man. Like, don't let it break down again and go out, end on a high note. Like, as much as I want to see him, like, he's been great, and I thought that match was great. And kudos to Seth winning, because Seth has eaten a lot of shit the last couple of years, losing a lot of matches. And the turn Johnny called months ago, kudos to him. I think the thing I'm more interested in is what happened to Raw after Mania, to be honest. The stable. It sounds like it's going to be a stable and not just two guys. And I don't know if this is the new Dangerous Alliance or if they'll have a new name.
Yeah, they're called Paul Heyman guys, and we did this angle 10 years ago.
Whoa.
Playing the role of CM Punk. Seth Rollins playing the role of Cesaro. Braun Breaker.
Let's be real.
I mean,
Braun
yeah,
Breaker.
Who's going to play Cesaro?
I don't know. It was. I remember that, but it wasn't that great. And I think this will probably be
it
better.
started the same way, guys.
No,
I'm just saying. Yes,
it did not. Not even close, man. Are you kidding me? You're talking about Michael McGillicuddy.
It started
Michael McGillicuddy, with all due respect.
No, I'm talking Cesaro. Michael McGillicuddy.
No. You can't skip that part of the equation.
I'm saying McGillicuddy came later.
No, Cesaro came later.
Cesaro came the night after Mania.
McGillicuddy faced Triple H right after.
Cesaro joined the night after Mania because he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal the night
both
before.
Then? Because
they might have done both in the same night.
Triple H got hurt. Remember, they did the he got.
I don't think that was the night after Mania. I think that was a couple weeks later.
Look, I think our audience can Wikipedia this later and find out which one of you guys is right or wrong.
Anyway, I like the potential because the potential is there. Don't fuck it up though. Like, the Mania build was shit. It was dog shit. The end of Raw after Mania, that's fantastic. Strap a rocket to Braun's ass, but actually strap the rocket to the ass. Do what you did for fucking Jey Uso and strap it to his ass and just let him go out there and dominate.
I'd say the fans yanked Jey Uso up the card, not the rocket.
Can we get a clip? Can someone clip out Sean saying strap it to his ass? We could just use that over and over again.
Have Braun pin Roman. Have Braun pin Punk. Right? Like, I don't know who else would be the other options. Becky Lynch seems like a given at this point, but like male options, this seems like, Johnny did his prediction. Here's my prediction. This is leading to War Games, which isn't all that far away, which is a scary thought, about half a year. This is leading to Paul Heyman's team versus the buddy, frenemies team of CM Punk and Roman Reigns again.
Yes, it's the Dangerous Alliance against the Punk Squadron.
Yeah,
since they like to redo matches from the history.
I don't know if anyone's seen the footage they showed after Raw, where like it's still WWE cams, but like so clear as day, they're gonna do the whole my enemy is my friend, or whatever, the frenemy shit with Punk and Reigns, and that's cool and all, but this whole shit should be about elevating Braun and whatever other young talent you're going to put in this angle on either side of it. Do that. I'll give AEW this. Say what you want about them. From the very beginning, they were elevating young talent. Do that for yourselves now. You have a chance. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
Before we go off, I just got to go off on this one more time. If you're going to do 4-hour cards, do 4-hour cards. If I were to ask you guys, I did the math on this while we were talking, which night of WrestleMania featured the most in-ring action? What would you guess?
Well,
I know I
Sunday
saw
was
the
a
I
night.
don't
breakdown
know
was
because
forever. I know it's not good.
night
It
one
wasn't
was
night
like 80
one.
minutes, right?
Night 1 clocked in at 102 minutes of
Oh,
in-ring
it was
action.
longer than I thought.
Night 2 clocked in at 86 minutes.
No, Matt, Kieran hasn't hated on Punk. He actually praised the main event and called it the best of that
A
week.
CM Punk
4-hour per night WrestleMania, and you had 3 hours and change of wrestling across 8 hours is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I get it. Well, let's be honest, though. It's not just 100 minutes. You have to include the entrances. I'm sorry. Wrestling without entrances is a nothing burger. Now, that doesn't mean every entrance needs to be fucking 4 minutes, people, even with a long stage. My broken down ass can get down that ramp way quicker than that. So, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Johnny. And frankly, I agree. You know, a little more wrestling's needed. I don't mind the entrances, but there's too much shit in between every match.
There
I'm
was
not
over
talking like
two.
bell to bell. I'm
I
talking
actually I
entrance
said this
to finish of a match.
I said this to my mom when we were watching Night 2 because I actually watched the pre-show for that with them. I'm like, so why the fuck did I watch WrestleMania last night if you're going to show me the entire card on the pre-show?
Oh, that's what
Because
they
they
do
showed
now, right?
90% of the matches from Night 1 on the pre-show the next night. In full. Like, not just clips and highlights, but they were showing nearly full matches on the pre-show. And, like, what are we doing? If you're going to do that, just fucking do a 4-hour card that's all of the matches in one night. If you're going to do this little time, you can do it. Cut out some of this bullshit in between matches. Like,
Oh, I get that they're so big that they're commercializing shit now. I mean, they always have been, but like
congratulations, you've
it's
got
too
20
much.
ads around ringside. That's
Oh, there's,
enough.
I don't
it
care
was
about
out of
the
control
ringside
on night one. There was like over 2 hours of like ads in between matches. So that's just too much.
Got to pay the bills, unfortunately, but I don't like the way they go about
They
doing
got to
it.
pay the profits, not the bills.
So right now we're on pace to start Andor at 9:15. We listed 9:10 to 9:15. It's going to wrap up our wrestling talk for today. We have some celebration stuff to get to. Johnny, Kieran, and I have talked Star Wars for years. Randy joined us. I think Randy joined right before Ahsoka started the show.
Around there, yeah.
So he's been around for a while now. Dare I say, ladies and gentlemen, this right now, currently, as I stand here, what is it? April the 22nd, 2025, is definitely health-wise the best health Star Wars has been in prior to 2019, I guess would be the date I would use, probably prior to Solo coming out. It's clear that certain projects are going to come out, right? Like Mandalorian and Grogu is done filming. That thing's coming out whether you want it or not, whether you hate the title or not, that movie's coming. We got the announcement finally, no longer rumor, no longer speculation. Star Wars Starfighter will be the 50th anniversary movie starring Ryan Gosling, who will play the uncle of another lead character, a 15 or 16-year-old male. And they're on the run from people that are hunting them. There's no context provided other than that, and that it takes place 5 or 6 years after Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I love Ryan Gosling as an actor. Sean Levy, obviously coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine. He has other hits too. That was big. So let's just start there. It's no longer rumor, no longer speculation. Sounds like that movie's targeting other named talent too, not going with lesser knowns, but rather the Avenger. Maybe not quite A-list as like the Avengers, but it sounds like they want to go with more known actors, even similar to what Andor is doing, although most of their cast is British actors and actresses. Kieran, over to you first. What are your thoughts on the announcement of Star Wars Starfighter, which will begin filming here very shortly as the 50th year anniversary movie?
Yeah, I'm all for it because I'm a big fan of the Starfighter portion of Star Wars altogether. The ships piloting, all that stuff. I was really excited about that movie that was supposed to be done by the Wonder Woman
Patty
director,
Jenkins.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really excited for that, and that's not happening, obviously. But I was just super excited for that. And so this kind of just brings back the exact same excitement. I don't know about the director choice because the like the Deadpool Wolverine, like those movies have their own jam and they're like almost like I'm not saying that directors can't do more than one thing, but if it's anything like that, I probably will not like it. So, um, because that's its own thing. I actually went into the third Deadpool movie thinking I was going to hate it because I was kind of done with that type of storytelling. But I ended up enjoying it anyways. They hit me over the hammer with the same thing, and I still enjoyed it. So great for that. But I don't know if I want a Star Wars project for that. Ryan Gosling is awesome. I don't know, like I think most people will agree. There's probably someone out there that doesn't like him, but he's a good actor and he's very multi-talented in that he can do it all. He could probably play almost any role. He's really versatile. And yeah, I'm excited for the movie, and I love the title. I think like on the scale of announcements, it's just like an 8 or a 9 for me. Like it sounds pretty foolproof for Star Wars. Star Wars is never foolproof, but pretty high on the rankings for me.
Randy, quick thoughts?
I'm just excited for it. It really is something that I think is going to be a nice little shot in the arm for Star Wars because it's going to be something different. We're always for so long we'd always gotten a lot of the same stuff and or just this, everything tying into the same story. This is new territory and this is something Star Wars has needed. So to get an actor like Gosling in there, and obviously if they're shooting for other A-listers to kind of round out the cast, that's going to be really cool to see. I'm excited to see kind of what they do in terms of the different types of starships we're going to see. Obviously the kid's going to be probably an ace pilot at a young age. That's there's no reason to not assume that if Gosling's only is going to be kind of not the main character, but close enough. So it should be fun. I can't wait. I mean, yeah, it's a couple years off, but it's fine. We got Mandalorian Grogu. Star Wars fans are going to eat well up until that movie releases. So I can't wait.
Johnny?
I'm excited for this project on paper. As far as announcements go, I'm excited for it. I still, there's a part of me, this niggling feeling in the back of my skull that's like, we've been down this road before, and I'm a little afraid that we're walking towards the same situation we had with Lord and Miller, and that's a scary one for me. So Levy is a director of a certain style, and he's very good at that.
Good
style.
news, Kathleen Kennedy won't be there to do what she did last time. She's gone in August.
The problem
Filming
is
begins in September. We're good.
problem is we still don't know how much of that was Disney meddling, and that's the worrisome part, right? Because it's still the same Disney. Like we paint Kathleen with a certain brush, and we've done that for years, but we don't know how much of that was her and how much of that was Disney. We never will. She was not great at her job.
We don't know how that
a lot of announcements got made under her that never should have been announced, but I can't with 100% certainty say she was the only issue, because I'm sure Disney was at least it's at least 50-50. So half of the problem will be gone. I just don't know, how Dave's going to be able to handle it. It's all going to come down to who the business partner is, I guess, on that story. But, I'm afraid of that. The last time we had comedic style director and writers was Lord and Miller. And if he brings that style, I hope it's embraced like I would have liked it to be the first time around. I like his style of comedic action. If you look at his repertoire, his history, he's very good at that. Obviously the Deadpool movies, but he was also Free Guy, and the Night at the Museum movies were also him. Like, he has a very good history of success. Even without Deadpool, like, he has been very good at what he does in that regard. So, I'm excited for it. The only time he's ever strayed away from that comedic action style and gone more action was, I think, was it Real Steel? Was that the one with Hugh Jackman, I think, right? Yeah, and that was not a very good movie. So, like, I don't know. Like, if he stays in what I believe to be his element that he is best at, which is that comedic action, I think it could be great. And I'd love to see that in Star Wars. I've wanted to see that in Star Wars for years. I wanted to see that in Star Wars when Lord and Miller were brought on board. I love that style. It's one of my favorites. So if they just sign him, let him do his thing, and bring it to the media, bring it to us, I'm all for this. I think this is going to be great. Ryan Gosling has earned a lot of my respect, as crazy as it is from the Barbie movie. Where he just embraced that and did it to the nines and went to town. Like when he showed up at the Oscars and did "I'm Just Ken," at the Oscars, I could see why everybody else loves him so much, because when he goes in, he goes all in, and I love that. And if he's going to do that in Star Wars, I'm for that. If they go down the comedic action route, I'm all for this. If they stray away from that, I'm a little concerned about that, because that's not what Levy's good at. So as long as they bring what I expect them to bring, which is action comedy with great casting and great storytelling, then this has all the potential to be the best film in the Disney Star Wars era without question. It also has the potential to be as big a flop as Solo if they try and pigeonhole Levy into a position he's not as good at.
Let the dude work and stick to the basic
Exactly.
parameters that you have to, certain story elements that he can't contradict from other projects that might be happening or whatever. But other than that, make sure it looks like Star Wars, obviously, but like let him do his thing. Yes.
You know what would be great? You know what would be amazing? Eugene Levy in Star Wars.
That'd
Can
be
we get
awesome.
that?
I wouldn't rule out a cameo. I wouldn't rule out a cameo from Ryan Reynolds either. I wouldn't rule out Ryan Reynolds just being in the movie either. We're just early days still. So, Jerry, the link's right here. We're not leaving. What'll happen is we're going to wrap up Star Wars talk in about 10 minutes time. And we're going to take 5 minutes, go fill our drinks, use the washroom. And at 9:15, we are going to start Star Wars Andor season 2 if I don't kick Johnny first for continuously talking over me. What's interesting? This better be good.
I'm sorry. Somebody posted in one of the Discords I'm in some screenshots from the WWE Unreal trailer that came out this weekend, showing what was the original card for WrestleMania 41.
Punk Gunther Rollins was one of them.
Okay. I'm more interested in who the fuck thought Jade Cargill and Nia Jax would be a good match. Period. End of sentence. I want to know who that is, and I want them fired. I want their head on a stick.
In 2 minutes.
I want their head. I don't care. I want their head on a stick. I want their hands, both of them, chopped off so that they can never write another angle again. Because oh my god, I'm having an aneurysm just thinking about that match.
Yeah, well,
Even going 30 seconds.
In their defense, you thought Cena versus Cody was good. So, all right.
Compared to that, this would look like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels in '92.
Watch this eclipse because it doesn't happen often anymore. Okay. We want our next guest's thoughts on Star Wars Starfighter being announced as the Star Wars 50th anniversary movie come 2027. They actually moved it up 6 months, by the way. That's not getting a big talking point. That film was slated for December. They moved it up to May, so they obviously have confidence in the project. Joining us, the man who hates everything, Tommy B. What's going on, buddy?
I'm hanging in there, dude. Star Wars Starfighter, I haven't followed it closely because I'm skeptical if it's going to come out. I love the games that shared the title. They were good. And other people hate them. Not me, not this guy. Other people hate those. Look, if we're to get something that is more of a space starfighter oriented film, I'll check it out. But it's not going to come out without some kickback. There's going to be its fair share of haters, but I hope, cross my fingers, knock on wood, that I will not be one of them. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing, man. Excited for Andor, which is now up publicly. We'll be starting our watch party in 15 minutes time. Let's move on to the next topic here. We have the new animated series comes out next year. There was rumors about this a couple years ago, and then they died down. It is, in fact, a Darth Maul in between episodes 3 and 4 animated series called Darth Maul Shadow Lord, which apparently takes some of George Lucas's unused ideas from his versions of episodes 7, 8, and 9 and put it into an animated show. So, leave it to Filoni to do that. And that's probably where you're getting the Darth Talon stuff that everyone's talking about, because Darth Talon was supposed to be one of the villains in his sequel trilogy. So I don't know where they go with all that, but I'm excited for Sam Witwer. The dude's talented as shit. I love him as Maul. My question is, they weren't very forthright with the details. Is this going to be 6 to 8 episodes like Tales of the Jedi, or is this going to be like Bad Batch? Is this going to be like Clone Wars? They presented it as if it was the next version of those shows. So I hope we're getting a decent amount of content for it. Kieran, brief thoughts on the Maul animated show. You look pretty animated yourself.
I don't even know if I can, like, we don't have 20 minutes for me to get pissed off about this. Okay, before I get into anything that I don't like, Sam Witwer's awesome. Honestly, like, I know the announcement they had, about Filoni taking. I would love Sam Witwer to just take over Star Wars. He could be at the top. He's awesome. Great voice acting. He has a really good mind for Star Wars altogether. Like, you see him talk about anything Star Wars, and I think even if he's not spot on, like, he's not. I don't always agree with, like, anyone ever, because I think I'm smarter than everyone. But it just, like, yeah, he's good. So, but Star Wars goes back to, like, how can it be called Shadow Lord? The guy's never in the fucking shadows. He's always there. He's everywhere. He's in everything. He's in every fucking project on all the timeline. He's gonna live for 500 fucking years. He's gonna show up. Like, he's definitely gonna show up in the High Republic. He's definitely gonna show up in the, like, everywhere. In the Old Republic, the High Republic, the Future Republic. No matter what happens, Darth Maul's there. He's always there. He's the constant. And it's just because people are like, oh yeah, give us more Darth Maul, more action figures. We need more Darth Maul action figures. He's there all the time. He's in everything. This is the last thing we needed. And I could rant about it for like 20 minutes. I'm just going to cut myself out here and say I am disappointed.
So you like it? Like, you'd give it like a 5 out of 10? This movie? Is that what you're telling us?
Tommy B, thoughts on the Maul show, man?
Buddy, I shared a little bit of some thoughts with you about that off screen, and I'm really mixed because I really enjoy a lot of what they've done with Maul. A few years back, I said Bad Batch was the show that nobody asked for. I ended up loving it. So I'm cautious, right? We've really been inundated with Maul in the Disney Star Wars era. We didn't get that back before the acquisition. So the real hardcore fanboys, yeah, red dude looks awesome, yeah. They're hype about this. The guys who hate him, like Mr. Kieran, very, very upset. I'm kind of somewhere in between. I hope something really good comes of it. I'm cautiously optimistic, we might say.
Randy, quick thoughts, Maul show.
So I'm pretty excited for it. I love Sam Witwer. I loved what he's done as Maul. Obviously, there's been a lot of comics about backstories about Maul, books that kind of try to fill in the gaps. But this has potential to fill in things that, maybe that, depending on what the series is, could, lead us to why he was on Malachor, or like how he got to Malachor. Like there's these things where there's potential to connect the dots that maybe aren't in comics or not in books or at this point video games, because a lot of the video games are canon. So the idea of getting to flesh out the character even further and generate more nuance, a more nuanced character than what we already have, I'm all for it. Let's go. Sam Witwer's awesome. So, and I know he's going to do a bang up job with it. So let's go. Let's give the man the benefit of the doubt and just say we're going to have a great show on our hands.
Johnny, you got 1 minute, man. Sum it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think animation is the one thing that, when the story is good and it's something we care about, that they have always done well. Even with the Bad Batch, which was something we didn't really want or care all that much about, it was still good. It was still quality as long as you enjoyed the story. So I'm confident in their ability to pull this off here as, an animated series. I'm excited for the story because there are a lot of questions in how Maul gets from A to B to C in the story we've seen. How does he go from the last time we see him in the Clone Wars to the next time we see him in Solo to the next time we see him in Rebels? There's a lot of questions in how that all occurs. I'm excited to see some of those questions get answered.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, it is time for Star Wars Andor. We will be back in about 7 minutes' time. We're going to take
Are
a
you
break.
sure that I can't have another 5 minutes to talk about Darth?
Show up next week and you can have more time. But yeah, Star Wars Andor, we'll give you a timestamp of where we're going to start. But take your bathroom breaks. Come on back. Grab a drink, popcorn, and let's begin the second season to this beast of a show. We'll be right back. What's going on, gentlemen? We're still a few minutes away from starting here, or a couple of minutes away from starting. We all excited for this? I'm
It
stoked.
still says live. Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's a watch party.
Tommy having a Psycho Sid moment. This is live.
Tommy just forgets what we do here.
The correct
I don't
answer to that
fucking know.
question is always, we're live, pal.
Somehow I missed the memo that we weren't even using the old stream platform anymore. So not that I've been on to know.
Yeah, they're crooks.
Yeah,
So-
well that's nothing new.
And I think they lost about half their customer base with the massive price hikes they did. So
Shit.
we're gonna start at the 1 minute mark. It's right after the Andor logo disappears. So if everybody wants to cue at season 2, episode 1, titled 1 Year Later, up to the 1 minute mark. It is a 52-minute episode.
1 minute, 1 second.
So yeah.
My TV decided to surprise me with a. You have to put in your birthday and your email. And
That's fine. Go ahead and
No, that's not fine. They don't need that information.
welcome to Planet Earth in 2025, pal.
don't you?
Why
Don't
do
you
they
live in
need to
America?
have that
You don't have
information?
right to anything anymore, do you? Classy comment by you. Of course.
The next fucking thing is we're gonna have to give the vending machine our birthdays.
Are you old enough for this candy?
It's a messed up world. It's
One
always
of
something.
the news items we didn't have time to get to tonight was Kathleen Kennedy's expected to officially step down in August from Lucasfilm. Sounds like she'll be replaced by a team of 2 people, with one of those people being Dave Filoni on the creative side.
Yay! Dave Filoni, yay!
I'm double-edged sword on that, right? Because like, I want to see. We have company.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, 1 second. Carry on.
As exciting as that news is, I'm curious about who's going to handle the business side of things. Obviously, with Filoni taking over for the creative side, it's going to be one of those things where is he going to be able to manage like the workload that he's already got a huge responsibility when creative, but now to add on some of the stuff that Kathleen Kennedy did, that now it's on him on top of what he's already doing. I'll be curious to see if that's something he's going to be able to handle and if we're going to notice a difference in quality, because I know for a fact that his the stories he's trying to put out there are going to be as close to what George Lucas would look for in a story. So,
Yeah, I mean, we have Filoni's movie that he's been working on and developing. I think if he takes that job, the best thing to do would be he can flesh out the story for the movie, but hand it off to somebody else to write and direct. It's too important, right? Like that's his movie's supposed to be basically the end events of the Mandalorian and the Thrawn stuff and the Ahsoka stuff and the Mandalorian Grogu and all that. It's too important to be, just buried and work with everything else, flesh out your story, but then have someone else come on. Tony Gilroy didn't direct a single episode of the second season of Andor because he knew how freaking tough it was going to be in terms of how much he was spread thin just being the showrunner. So, be willing to step away from it would be my advice. Anyways, we are at the 1 minute mark of Star Wars Andor season 2, episode 1. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry, 1 sec.
I hear dead air is really good for podcasts. I don't know if
Sorry,
you guys
dog's being a dick.
know everything.
All righty. So we are 1 minute into this. and we will click play on go, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Season 2, episode 1. 3, 2, 1, go. One year later. 4 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Well, don't that look fancy schmancy?
That's what a real set looks like.
I like how they're jumping right into it.
Jeez, we got a Halloween Kills theme going on here. Or even like the Dark Knight there with the bank robbery, it kind of sounds like.
Yeah. Bup, 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 bup. I like that in that like the first scene. You're like Star Wars with excellent dialogue. Like
I like how much he's changed in a year, how much more confident he is, how much more charisma he's giving off, um, just to help keep someone calm that's nervous about basically betraying the Empire. I thought that was really well done.
Definitely got Luthen vibes from his convo.
He don't goddamn clue.
That was funny.
I hope he has insurance.
I don't think his insurance is going to cover that.
Oh, come on. That would have eviscerated those stormtroopers. They just didn't want to show that or animate that.
Does that particular guy realize he's indoors? Why is he wearing fur?
Some people dress before going outside and on a snowy planet.
On a starship?
They're not on a starship.
You can literally
Good to see you've been watching, though.
Well, that probably ain't flying anymore.
did they not have anyone better for this mission?
I remember the line in season 1, Jade just brought it up where he's like, I can fly anything.
To be fair, that hand apparatus looks way different than anything I've seen piloting before. So, but you have to think about it to be like, why can he not fly this?
I'm guessing this is some prototype, because that is not any known class of TIE I've ever seen.
Thrawn was going through prototypes at this time.
Which makes sense, because that looks like it's like somewhere between an interceptor and an aggressor.
You guys know what I just realized a few moments ago, several moments ago?
What's that?
I have cheap Disney Plus. I pay like $1 or $2 on top of my Hulu subscription, so I'm gonna get stuck with stupid ads.
Oof.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. I'm cheap.
I will too, but I caught up on the last one right where you guys are. So
It's a hell of an action piece to start season 2, not going to lie.
for a show that usually builds up to its action, right? Like it's not, it didn't happen very much in the first season, but when it did, it was good. But you can go a whole 2, 3 episodes without seeing something like that, right?
That was the kid who threw the bomb at the end of season 1, whose dad got messed up. Back on Ferrex. I don't think we've seen Chandrilla in live action before.
I don't think so.
I loved her story in season 1. She was so good.
Her and Luthen were easily the best part of season 1.
Her own daughter's fucking wedding. Their dynamic's so interesting. I found in the first season that at times it was almost hard to tell who was in charge between the two. And much of the same right there.
It's a really big. It's great too because that's like one of the fundamental differences between rebellion or the good side of Star Wars and the bad side, where it's like shut the fuck up and listen. You know what I mean? So it really is. It's very different.
You know, I watched the 14 some minute recap that Star Wars put out, but I'm already feeling a full rewatch would have been in order.
For this show, for sure.
The recap I watched was 26 minutes long. It was full of facts. There was no filler. So just testament to how much actually happened in the first season. Johnny, you got any comments on that gun and how it looks? Is it good?
Appropriately Star Warsy. So season 1 we had looks like Bulk and Skull. Now we have acts like Bulk and Skull.
I was gonna say the one guy sounded like one of the guys from Whitest Kids You Know. The man.
A bit. I didn't expect him so soon.
Is this going to be where he gets his tapes made?
Not gonna lie, I kind of like that the old wartimey feel to like the movie, the video he showed. It was kind of neat. I'm not gonna lie, I like it.
I mean, if you know anything about your Star Wars history, depending on how deep your knowledge runs, we have an idea what goes on at Gorman, and it's not good. They talk about it in Rebels. Kid with the guns from Superstore. Fuckers have the Death Star 95% built but can't get it working for years. That's hilarious. I had to have a double take. I thought that was Lucifer from Supernatural for a second.
You gotta love hearing them talk about propaganda.
Yeah. Getting some real Anne Frank vibes from this.
Is this music way too clubby, or is that just me?
No,
It's a teenager's wedding.
it's clubby. It's how it was in season 1 too, when he's looking for his sister, and even in oh man, what's the show that we just watched before this one months ago?
It kind of sounds like that No
Skeleton Crew.
Americano song.
Perrin reminds me of long hair Kieran. Fucking loose, and he never stops.
I was about to say, is he never not working?
Yeah, he can't turn it off.
He's so good. Like, he's basically playing like two different characters. So, and great actor. So,
Yeah, fantastic actor.
I want them to show a Biff band just friggin' going at it.
Fucking wedding. Have their first fight. Arranged marriages. There you have it. Andor season 2, episode 1. 1 year later, in the books. Um, there's a lot going on, a lot to catch up with, a lot to dissect tomorrow night. But we'll spend about the last 10 minutes here just giving our thoughts and how we think about it. I know Tommy's not on tomorrow. We don't know about Kieran, so let's start with those two guys. Kieran, your thoughts on the first episode of season 2?
Um, I would like to say that it was all great, it was all good, but there was some things that I'm nitpicky about. But it's mostly because I have such, like such high opinion of this show. Um, I didn't really like the squabbling rebels. Like I understand showing the defense, the dysfunction in a group like that and everything like that, but like it was a little bit too yeah, a little bit too comedic for me. A little bit too like I don't know. I thought that could have been done a little bit better. And I did like the action rate at the start. I did not like how poorly he was able to drive that, even though it was like explained and whatever. Like I don't know. I feel like it means that the plan was sloppy, or I don't know. They explained it, so I shouldn't nitpick it. And it does show that like that looks like way different than the steering in any ship that we've seen. But it still kind of bugged me regardless of like being able to explain it. So um but however the dialogue was awesome, the acting was awesome. The music was maybe like a little bit less than season one, but like I don't it's whatever. It's not ruining it for me. I did like some of the music and some not so much. Um, and the Imperial stuff, all that, like, yeah, was I thought that was all great. I love it. It's weird that it shows that they're doing a way better job than the rebels, and this episode was just very much like, what are the rebels doing? What are the Imperials doing? It was mixed in there. Basically, like they're just showing you like what's the difference between these two ideologies, and it's weird to think that the emperor or the empire is way better at what they're doing than what the rebels are doing at this time. This small group of rebels, this small group of imperial, this little task force, I guess. But I really love hearing the Imperials talk about the propaganda and what and how, no, whatever, we'll do this. No, we can do that. Like it was very interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, almost like being a fly on the wall amongst the self-proclaimed elite, deciding the fate of a fucking planet just so you can use their minerals. I thought there was. I agree
Kind
with
of
your.
topical.
I agree with your thoughts on the squabbling rebels for sure. That was my least favorite part. Seemed like there was less music used. I thought the music was still super effective. I mean, set design was incredible, and the acting, like you mentioned. Yeah, I don't know how many times people have either read about or done research or watched any of the movies on Anne Frank, but I got like that vibe from where Bix and Brasso are, and um, I thought it was the first episode of season 2 is better than the first episode of season 1, and the first 2 episodes of season 1 are not very good. They can put people away, and it is recommended. Even Tony Gilroy said if you can watch the 3 episodes together, it's meant to be seen as like a movie. That's why they're doing the release the way they are. Um, Tommy, your thoughts on the first episode of season 2, buddy?
So, mind you, because of my stupid ads, I still have a few minutes left. I paused it for while I'm talking. I'm assuming nothing big happens in those last few minutes. This was a rather bit of a slow start for me. I totally understand that you're supposed to watch them all together, but well, maybe they shouldn't have been 3 separate episodes then. I also was not the biggest fan of those, I guess we'll call them bickering rebels. It felt like a real unnecessary detour, but here we are. And, it is a demonstration that the rebellion, it remained pretty not tight knit over time, but right now it's really not tight knit. You got people killing each other. It is.
And you got a bunch of cells basically just doing whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah. It is what it is. It felt like at some points kind of a slow start, but that's what we also like about Andor, how it's really filling in a lot of that background info with a lot of that drama. We did get a really, really cool actiony start scene with Cassian and the TIE fighter. So I think there's much more to look forward to. Don't know when I'm going to get to watch 2 and 3, maybe tomorrow evening, but I'm looking forward to it.
Good to hear, man. Randy, your thoughts on episode 1?
So I definitely enjoyed it. Obviously, I enjoyed getting a nice action scene to start. Which is kind of cool. Is that's definitely a cockpit I've never seen before for any starfighter. One of the cool things is I've played Star Wars Squadrons, and one of the things is if you have the VR headset, which I did, you basically can see the insides of the cockpit and where the hands are and how the ships get flown. So to see this, to see that they're definitely probably ideas of Thrawn, more than likely trying to get the perfect TIE fighter out there like he has been during this time period. Was kind of neat. I liked the jumping around bit. I liked the fact we're catching up with everybody 1 year later, kind of seeing where people are, how things are going. It was definitely slower than I expected it to be. But again, we're getting reacquainted with people and how they've changed. And I was fine with that. Obviously, the next 2 episodes are probably going to give us the entire picture of what we were originally supposed to see rather than just kind of doing a one and done. And that's why I'm not like totally lost yet. I'm just kind of like, all right, good start, good beginning, a good way to end it to lead into the next episode. Let's see if we get the real meat and potatoes, everything in the middle episode, and then have our resolution, since this is a specific time period. Hopefully it'll be all cohesive and would be very satisfying by the end of episode 3.
My prediction is much like season 1. I think you'll have the first 2 episodes of build, and then the 3 being the big payoff setting up the next arc. But I could be wrong. Don't know. Haven't seen it. Johnny, finish things off here, man. Your thoughts on episode 1?
Well, I mean, like we said, it was infinitely better than season 1, episode 1. Like it was, infinitely better, to the point that I'm sort of, I don't want to say excited, but I'm happy to keep going, to have more, to be able to continue watching, which is obviously something I could never have said about season 1. But yeah, you've all hit on, there was too much of the dysfunction in the rebel camp that got really annoying. It got boring, at times. It was just the same old stuff, listening to them bicker and moan and not really have anything to do with anything other than just being there. Like, it doesn't really progress the story forward in any meaningful way. It just is there to take time. And there was too much of that. I preferred the other stuff going on, seeing the back door, seeing this side of the Empire is always fun, exciting, because it's a side we don't really get to see very often, is the actual sort of, we don't really get to see, we've never really gotten to see how the sausage gets made, as far as how the Empire goes about doing the things it does. And seeing they're planning to, subjugate a planet to serve their purposes is more fun. It's more fun seeing the dark side of the Empire, as well as seeing the dark side of the rebellion, because we don't, we just see the results of the things the Empire does, and we hear about them, but getting to actually see the politicking going into those decisions is more fun to me, seeing that. Obviously, again, Cassian was kind of a passenger in this episode again, which is hopefully not a trend that continues like it did in season one. We got to the end of the first season and we finally hit a moment where it was like, okay, now we're getting into Andor. Now we're getting into Cassian and his, the meat and potatoes of his particular story. And, like we said, if you watched this a couple weeks ago when we did the finale, it was all about him in a way that was more than any other episode had been. And it seems sort of like we're backsliding into that Cassian as a secondary player in the series named after him, which is not what I want. I wanted, a more Cassian forward story while getting the interplay with the Mon Mothmas and the Luthans and, everyone on the Imperial side. I was a little surprised to see Ben Mendelsohn so fast. I did not expect him in episode one. Personally, I figured he wouldn't show up until, I kind of figured he'd sort of be somebody that shows up at the end of that first arc, at the end of episode 3 or something like that. And then, he'd kind of be there for the middle and then the end. But getting him right out there forward, I liked that. I thought that was helpful for the story. Hopefully bodes well for how much we're going to get of him. Because I love, his character was one of the best parts of Rogue One for me, personally. So I'm excited for that. I look forward to continue watching. I'm gonna watch the next 2 episodes as soon as we finish. It's like I'm going right back into it.
I will
So,
watch shortly. I don't know if we'll be going right back into it. The least,
well, I mean, I'm gonna take a few minutes, go to the
close to
bathroom, take a
overtime
break.
here,
But
since they couldn't hold the lead. But
well, I mean, that will
Um,
depend as well. I'm hopeful that we'll close it out in regulation, but
I don't,
that will also matter.
I
But
don't like all this season one hate. What the first 2 episodes were terrible? That's news to me.
oh yeah, the first 2 episodes. A lot of people walked away after the first 2 episodes of the series.
Yeah, but those are the people who don't deserve to watch the rest of it. They're all Philistines.
I thought the first 2 episodes of Andor season 1 were far and away the worst episodes of that season. I didn't
You
think
know
they
what?
were
Those are the
necessarily
people who
bad. I
will
just
like
don't.
that fucking Darth Maul show. They can leave this project and go watch
You and
Darth
your
Maul do all sorts of
anti-Maulness.
control the universe again.
Anyways, if you haven't yet, ladies and gentlemen, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all. We will be back next week with a watch party for episode 4 on Tuesday night. But tomorrow night, we will be doing a full breakdown of the 3 episodes with a roundtable at about 10 o'clock Eastern time, slightly after that. So be on the lookout for that. Feel free to come out and join us. But for Kieran and Randy and Tommy and Johnny, I'm Sean. We'll see you next week right here on Fandom Nation.